to another edition of Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate. I'm one of your hosts here, Scott Waddell, along with my co-host Caitlin Wesley, as usual. And again, episode number 16, sponsored by 12 Company Fire and Command. And we have a special guest tonight. Been waiting to talk to this guy for a while after last summer. Tonight's special guest, was the winner of the Gold Cup and Saucer in 2023. Lifetime, he's got almost 5,500 wins, and he's got $98 million in purse money over his career. And he's a native of New York. And of course, he made headlines last season with the Gold Cup and Saucer winner. So I'll pass it over to my co-host, Caitlin Wesley, and you can get things started with Jordan Stratton tonight. We're pleased to have with us.
Yeah, congrats, Jordan, and thanks for jumping on. I'm so excited to get to know more about you. As everyone knows, you are the, superstar for Gold Cup and Saucer, especially where you pulled up to everybody and shook hands, seen the kids. So you definitely made a memorable moment with Gold Cup and Saucer. So I can't wait to get to know more about you. So welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Jordan, you made national headlines, of course, as Caitlin said, with the win with Cover Bridge. Although the win was amazing, I think what really resonated with people that night was your interaction with the fans. So tell us what made you get so up close and personal with the fans. Was it just kind of living in the moment, or what kind of spurred you on, or is that something you do at times?
Growing up, me and my brother were always on the rail screaming at drivers and throw your whip and, hey, how you doing? So like a little bit of me always remembers that. And I see a couple guys just kind of ignore the fans, and with that kind of turnout, it was the least I could do to show my appreciation, because I remember being on that side of the fence.
Yeah, and I know Jody Jamieson in the past, he's kind of made a name for himself, not just here, but, North America Cup nights and that. So I think it's just great what you did last year. And, congratulations on the big win. It was certainly something to see. And I think one of the most memorable Gold Cup and Saucer so far.
Thank you. It was very memorable for myself too.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what it was like for you to be in PEI? Not everybody really gets to have that one-on-one conversation. How was your trip? How's visiting PEI? Can you tell, the listeners what it was kind of like for you to explore PEI?
I've watched the race, yearly just on simulcast, but it doesn't even come close to when the lights go out and the fans are packed shoulder to shoulder in the grandstands. And just usually I don't get too nervous, but when I was on the track and the lights were out, it was starting to hit me a little bit.
Yeah, so when you actually got the call to race in the Gold Cup trial, I'm sure that you were drop of a hat, you wanted to go. All about the history of the Gold Cup, and it's on the bucket list of a lot of drivers. So kind of tell us what that moment was like to get the drive in the trial, and then lucky enough to get in the final.
Well, Jeff had always talked about it. It's been on his bucket list, Jeff Gillis, of course, to win the race. Yeah. So we always kind of talked about it, and then he made the decision to go forward. And there was a little bit of a schedule conflict. I had to be in Northfield for the 3-year-old race. I can't remember the name of it, but luckily we had a driver up there, Scott Young, did a great job, and he drove them both in the elimination, and then I was able to fly up day of the final and race them in the final heat.
Okay, so go ahead, Kate.
Family has been a big part of racing for you. Why don't you tell the listeners, what first got you into harness racing and how it all began for you?
My family had a farm in Ohio, We had our own track. We had a bunch of race tracks around us. So me and my brother kind of grew up on the farm, jogging, training, playing on the manure pile, typical
Yeah.
farm kids. But it just a family of racing, and that was the only goal in life, was just to be successful in harness racing.
No, that's awesome. And when you look back on your career, who has been the most influential people that have driven you to succeed in harness racing?
It's impossible to list everybody, but
Yeah.
obviously my father and my mother growing up, and then when I moved from Ohio to New York after graduation, I went to Meadowlands, so there were plenty of people there that kind of got me started and on the big time. But after that, we went to Monticello, and Claude Huckabone. I can't thank him enough. He fed me night in and night out. I'll never forget that. But just the list of everybody throughout my career, it's no one really stands out, but it's a group effort for sure.
As a big driver that you are and have so many wins under your belt, I know most drivers remember that very first win that you get. Who was your first win with, and what was it like to get that first win?
It was a horse my dad trained. His name was Meditator. I had boots that didn't fit, my dad's colors on, white helmet, no gloves. It was great. It was an amateur race. Came off second or third over and brushed up the backside and circled the field, and I still have the picture on my wall. It was a great feeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great to win with your dad's horse. Like, as you know, racing is certainly a family affair, and great to hear. So is Corey Stratton, is he your brother, Jordan?
Yep, that's my brother. We didn't really see eye to eye growing up. Just kind of we're 5 years apart, but now
Okay.
I would light the world of fire for him. I'm so proud of him, and he really works very hard. And his wife Vicky, they do a great job.
Yeah, that's awesome. Vicky, I think, just got her first win not too long ago,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. An old horse they'd had off and on throughout his career, and they bought him just to give him a home and got him back to the barn. He was feeling good, and they're able to race 15-year-olds in the amateur events. So
Oh, okay.
that was a great story for her.
Nice, nice. So you've won a lot of big races, and besides the Gold Cup and Saucer, is what would you chalk up as your second biggest win?
Uh, Definitely the first Levy I won with Bit of a Legend. I mean, he was an unbelievable horse. He was the only horse to win every leg of the eliminations and then win the final. So he went 6 for 6, and he's the only horse to ever do it.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
Um, what drivers do you get really competitive with that amp you up, that you get so excited, oh, I beat you, and you guys tease back and forth on the track, off the track? Like, is there certain drivers that you really like to have fun with?
The McCarthy brothers at Meadowlands are great. They just great people, always very sportsmanlike, and they always congratulate you. But growing up, Brian Sears was my idol as a driver, so it was always nice to get him right at the wire.
Yeah, Brian Shore has won a lot of races for sure. Who's the fastest horse that you've ever driven, Jordan?
Um, Maybe not the top end speed. Bit of a Legend is always going to be my number one, but Pete Tritton had another horse, Mossdale Connor. I mean, he was just raw speed, unbelievable. Unfortunately, he had cancer that spread throughout his body and had to be euthanized. But for those first couple starts, I think he maybe had 5 or 6 starts coming over from New Zealand. He won a big race at Chester, and just never got to see the bottom of him, unfortunately. But he was the fastest for sure.
Yeah, and Cover Bridge certainly has to rank up there a little bit too. He's
Yeah,
been one heck of a horse.
and he's nothing special to look at. Just a little horse, and
Yeah.
just average looking. But man, his heart is enormous.
Yeah.
If you could list two or three horses over the years of racing that you've enjoyed, watching, for example, foiled again, is there any one or two or three horses that really stick out to you that, make it really like make harness racing because of them?
Um, Obviously recently is Bulldog Hanover. He was just unbelievable. It seemed
Yeah.
get a little unlucky in Lexington. They were trying to go for the track record and it didn't work out, but just raw speed and some beach somewhere, the greats like everyone else.
Did you ever get a chance to go back and look at Annihilator and Niatross and some of the old horses?
The My father actually, I think it was Annihilator. He broke him, and
Okay.
yeah, there's an old picture of him in the old short shorts and at Lexington in front of the teletimer. Get to laugh about that.
Yeah, he was a nice horse. So tell us a little bit about your weekly schedule, Jordan. I know you drive at a number of tracks. So what's it like through the week for you?
Right now it's Monday through Friday at Yonkers, Meadowlands on Saturday. Stake season's starting to pick up now, so I'll do a little bit of freehold. The Dexter Cup's coming up, and then Sire Stakes through the summer, and hopefully back to PEI.
Oh, awesome. Well, I was going to ask you that later on, but might as well ask you now. Do you think there might be a chance Cover Bridge might be back to try and defend his title?
I hope so. He's got the rail on Monday night. Yeah, Monday night for the Borgata final. So we'll see
Yeah.
how that goes. But I'm sure if it's up to Jeff, he'll want to go back.
Yeah, he'd probably get a nice little rest before that happens, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You list off quite a few tracks that you're driving at. Is there one in particular that is like your favorite track to drive at?
It would have to be the Meadowlands just because it's kind of the mecca of harness racing, and we were stabled there for a little bit when I graduated off of high school, so it's kind of got some good memories behind it.
Yeah, the Meadowlands certainly one of the biggest tracks in North America, and you've certainly done well down there. So continued success there.
Thank you.
Just wanted to touch on something else. Of course, with sports betting now available on NFL and things like that, what do you think harness racing can do to help to grow their business and compete against that? That instant gratification that sports betting brings.
Definitely speed up the product. Every sport in the world is trying to go faster and keep people engaged, and it seems like we drag and drag and drag, and people that even own horses end up just going to sleep and watching the replay in the morning. And I wish we would catch on a little bit to everyone else and kind of speed up the product.
Yeah, I've mentioned that to a couple other drivers, and they've kind of had mixed reviews. They say that they're running things off in a timely manner, but I'm like you. I sit home and watch simulcast and throw a few bucks down here and there, and it seems forever at some tracks in between races. So I think speeding it up would certainly help.
Yeah, if certain tracks were working together and there was one race going after another, it wouldn't be so bad, kind of waiting around. But it seems like tracks aren't working together and the races are going off on top of each other and just shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree because like with us, we have horses that we race and we found like the summer when it was extremely hot and having to wait, they were so washed out. It was just like, wow, like what's the point of racing our horses if they're already washed out before they even hit the track? Like it's not fair to them to have to wait that long or to be on the track that long. So I totally agree because I barely watch all the races and I go home and watch the replay. So I totally get what you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could or if you were to be listed on, say two or three horses in a race, how do you go about picking which horse you would, want to drive?
A lot of it comes down to the bigger stables that you kind of committed to a little bit. But if multiple trainers that I work with get in together, it's usually just the best horse or who has the inside here at Yonkers. It's a big edge, but mostly just the people I work with get first choice.
Awesome. I want to go back just for a moment, Jordan, to Cover Bridge's big win last summer. Just give us a quick, how you felt going into the race, and did the race go like you expected it to?
There was I put a little pressure on myself being on Jeff's bucket list, and his family's there,
Yeah.
and and I got able to sneak over to the grandstand and experience the crowd during some of the earlier races. So I put a little extra pressure on myself, but I knew I had a sharp horse going in, and they were both great in the elimination, and I didn't really end up in the spot I thought I was going to be in the race, but ended up working out anyway. I think if I was a little bit closer, we might have been able to hit the track record.
Maybe this year.
Yeah, that's great.
As we talked before, family, has been a big part of your racing career. You mentioned in one of your conversations about your daughter, and tell us about her. And was she at the Gold Cup and Saucer to witness you winning the big exciting race and the big crowd and the lights going out?
No, unfortunately, it was just by myself. I flew up the day of the event, so it was kind of crazy. And I like to keep work and family a little separate, just so whether I win 5 or I don't get a check, I go home and it's just the same. But my wife and my daughter are really my rock in life. My wife's my best friend, and my daughter, I get a smile every time I see her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we see you on the racetrack, Jordan, but what do you like to do outside of racing on your spare time? Any hobbies or interests that might surprise some of our listeners?
Right now, I just try to stay active a little bit, running and stuff. But every second goes to my daughter. Really, she's really big into gymnastics right now, and I hear so many people in racing say, "Oh, I wish I would have taken some time off racing to see my kids grow up," and I just don't want to be in that situation. So any chance I get, I try to go with her to wherever she's going or help her on her gymnastics or whatever I can do.
Awesome.
Over the time frame that you drove, you have amazing stats. Like I was kind of nervous, to be honest, coming on, 'cause I was like, oh my dear, I don't think I've ever talked to someone with amazing stats like that within harness racing. Um, do you set goals for yourself throughout the years?
Not so much. I always had a goal of being leading driver at Yonkers, and I finally accomplished that a couple of years ago. So that was good. But you just got to take one day at a time and one race at a time, really. The trainers and grooms work so hard all week. You just try to race one race at a time and be as successful as you can. But Cat Manzi told me when I first started, get used to losing because you're going to lose a lot more than you win, and try not to carry it on to the next race.
And we're going to have a little fun with this last question, Jordan. I don't know how many listeners know, but the Joker, Nikolai Jokic, is a big harness racing fan. I've seen him kind of hang around Tim Tetrick a little bit. So have you had a chance to see him around the Meadowlands at all?
I haven't met him personally, and I don't really follow sports much, but everybody says he's really down to earth and just loves the harness racing. So hopefully I can get him up to the PEI.
Yeah. Oh, geez, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be. Well, listen, Jordan, thanks very much for joining us. I know you got a busy night ahead. You're driving at Yonkers again, so best of luck tonight. And we appreciate your time. And again, congratulations on last year's win in the Gold Cup and Saucer. And we hope to see you back in 2024 edition.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So again, that concludes our 16th episode on Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate, sponsored by 12 Company Fire and Command. And our next episode will be Brandon Campbell, maritime native. And coming soon, we'll have Ben Hollingsworth and Amber Campbell, both maritime natives. So again, thanks, Jordan. And for my co-host, Caitlin Wesley, this has been another edition of Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate.